It's Thursday, July 14th, 2022. We have a lot to talk about today. I am shocked yet again today watching the miracle that took place on the stock market today. We'll talk more about that in a minute. But if you're watching all of this like I am, and you're scared with what you're seeing happen to the US economy right now, you're scared about what you're seeing take place in your household economy, you should be scared. You should be very scared right now, and you should be taking action immediately. Now, there are a lot of very ignorant people out there who have been blinded by greed, blinded by this illusion, believing that the Fed's going to rescue them, that all this is going to go away, this is just short term, that everything is going to go back to normal, and it's going to be bigger and better than ever. That is pure ignorance, ladies and gentlemen. It's pure ignorance. And if you think like that, you're going to get destroyed. You are going to get destroyed. You need to be taking action right now. When I see what is taking place right now, it is literally like a disassembly of the US economy, some new type of economy, some new type of order is coming, and you better be ready. And I mean, you need to be ready with your security, with food, with water, with assets, with cash, supplies, barterable items, mental mindset. One thing you could start doing today is getting in better physical shape, better spiritual shape. Literally costs you nothing to go out and start getting in better physical shape and spiritual shape. If you prayed once a day, I promise you, you're going to be a better, stronger, more open-minded person, and you're going to begin to see through all this garbage that is being thrown at you. Dow Jones down 142 points today. NASDAQ up 3.5 points today. We witnessed a stock market miracle yet again today. These markets today should have been absolutely crushed. They should have collapsed. Dow Jones should have been down another 1,000 points, like it should have been down 1,000 points yesterday, but it wasn't. Why is that? Well, the Fed, of course, the Fed buying the debt, the Fed buying stocks, the Fed is in here buying all of this stuff, while at the same time raising rates on the other side, buying debt, buying stocks on the other side, playing both sides of the game here, burning both ends of the candle. I think this ends extremely badly for this country. I don't think we've ever seen a Federal Reserve buying stocks, buying bonds, and raising rates at the same time, creating more inflation while we're being told that they're fighting inflation. We are going to get, in my opinion, and many of you commented down below the other day that 100 basis points is coming July 27th. Yes, I believe it will be 100 basis points also. But what's it going to do? It's so little, so late, while they're creating more inflation every day, buying up these markets and buying up this debt. Incredible. It really is incredible. Just think about how much money they are printing behind the scenes to do this while raising rates. This is going to destroy a lot of people. It's going to destroy a lot of people's wealth. It's going to destroy your standard of living. And ultimately, it is going to destroy this economy and this country. You want to talk about hyperinflation? People said that could never happen. That only happens in South America, Central America. That could never happen here. That's the farthest thing from the truth. Again, there's so much ignorance out there. People don't read history. They don't read what has happened to other countries not that long ago. They don't realize what is happening behind the scenes here, how much money is being printed, how much money has been printed that we don't even know about. JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon sums up U.S. economy in one paragraph, and it sounds bad. It came out on CNBC today. Geopolitical, this is what Jamie Dimon, JP Morgan says, geopolitical tension, high inflation, waning consumer confidence, the uncertainty about how high rates have to go, and the never before seen quantitative tightening and their effects on global liquidity are very likely to have a negative consequence on the global economy somewhere down the road. The picture does not look good. The future doesn't look good, folks. And if you're worried, if you're scared, you should be. I've never seen anything like this. None of you have ever seen anything like this. And for those of you paying attention daily to what is going on, you know that this whole system is broken. The economy has collapsed a while ago. And now it's how far down is this going to go? How deep is the bottom of this collapse, this crash? And you know, a lot of those people who used to write me going, when's it going to collapse, JB? When's it going to collapse? They've disappeared because they now realize that the economy has collapsed. And instead of writing me, instead of questioning me, I hope that those people have been preparing. I hope that they've taken action. Wholesale prices shoot up near record 11.3% in June on surge in energy costs. So the PPI number today was ridiculous, ridiculous. And you know it's probably double what they're telling us. Company margins now are shrinking. They're making less and less profit. So in return, what are they going to do? They're going to lay people off because their margins are shrinking. They're disappearing. So they're going to be laying people off. So get ready to pay more for basically everything, because when that PPI goes up, that cost is being passed on to you and I. So how could inflation be 9.1% when PPI is 11.3%, and that's being passed on to the average American? You know the inflation is much, much higher than they're telling us. The hedge today, initial jobless claims soar to highest since 2021. 244,000 Americans filed first-time jobless claims last week. Pretty soon, that number is going to break 300,000 a week. When are people going to realize that we're in big, big trouble? Nobody's talking about it. Now they're talking about raising taxes. Instead of cutting spending and lowering taxes, they're talking about raising taxes and spending more. And remember, we're sending billions with a B, to other countries, while right here, people are suffering. They're in big trouble. We've got food insecurity. People don't have medical care. People living on the streets. We're going to see the homeless crisis in America begin to explode. And I think it's already begun. Wait till we see the homeless numbers in 2023. JP Morgan Chase earnings fell 28% after building reserves for bad loans. Bank suspends buybacks. Shares fell nearly 5% today, hitting a 52-week low. Think about how many bad mortgage loans JP Morgan has made. You know that they're laying off a lot of their mortgage department. They made a lot of bad mortgage loans. And what do they know is coming that the average American doesn't know? That the average American might be buying a house today or next week. What does JP Morgan know? What do the people over there know that's coming? They know that defaults are coming. They know that home prices are going way down. They also know that people aren't paying their credit card debt, and they realize that they're going to be charging off a lot of sour debt here very, very soon, because people are not making those credit card payments. They're going to be defaulting on home loans. They're defaulting right now on their auto loans, and we're going to see big defaults with credit cards also. Bank of America fined $225 million over unemployment benefits program. They were not getting the benefits to people in time. So where were the benefits going? What were they doing with them? People tell me all the time. Somebody wrote me the other night telling me how they're keeping all their money in the bank. They trust the bank. Yet Bank of America fined $225 million over unemployment benefits program. They were not getting the money to the people that needed it, that it was to go to. It was delayed, or some people just didn't get the money at all. So where did the money go? What did they do with the money? How about this one? For the people out there that trust these banks so much, that have all their money in the bank. JP Morgan Chase, this came out about 2 years ago, and I printed it out today just as a reminder what these banks are all about and why you shouldn't have all your money in the bank. And I'm not telling you to pull all your money out, but you should have enough in there to pay your bills. You should, if you have to have a large amount of money in the bank for whatever reason, spread it out in multiple banks. But I believe now that your money is safer under your mattress than it is in the bank now. JP Morgan Chase to pay a record $920 million to resolve U.S. investigations into trading practices. This was for manipulation of global markets for metals and treasuries, manipulating the gold and silver market, manipulating the treasury market, manipulating global markets every which way possible. So if they got fined $920 million, nearly $1 billion, think about how many tens or hundreds of billions of dollars they made. This was just a donation, $920 million, just a donation for probably the hundreds of billions of dollars that they escaped with. The AP, long lines are back at U.S. food banks as inflation hits high. Working Americans are now so overwhelmed by gas prices and food prices, overwhelmed by their wages being destroyed by inflation, so overwhelmed that they are now taking handouts to feed themselves and to feed their families. And in this AP article, they list a couple different food banks, but the one here that stuck out was the Phoenix Food Bank. Their main distribution center doled out food packages to 4,271 families during the third week of June, a 78% increase. 900 families now line up every weekday for food. And they're worried about where the food's going to come from because we've got shipping disruptions, we've got a food crisis. These type of charities and these food banks rely on donations, and people, when they're not working or when they're paying $5, $6, $7 for a gallon of gas, they're not so charitable. They don't have the money to give to the food banks and to different charities. And that means people are going to suffer. And now more and more people are looking at the possibility of homelessness now. We're seeing people being evicted. We're seeing defaults on mortgages now. And we're seeing, I talked about a few days ago when I did the video on the auto market, how many people are defaulting on auto loans. Remember, the auto industry or the auto loan sector is 6 to 12 months ahead of the housing sector and what's going to happen with those mortgages. If people are defaulting at record numbers on their cars right now, you're going to see within 6 to 12 months an enormous number of people defaulting on their mortgages. So we're going to see big problems there. And if these people do not have family, friends, or church to fall back on, they become homeless. And they're hitting food banks. People that have nice cars and houses right now are lining up at food banks because they cannot afford food. June shipments declined. Latest case data shows volume weakened, costs hit new high. Of course, we're going to see volume down because people are buying less. People have less disposable income. And this means that we're going to see more retailers go out of business, especially the small ones. So I want to finish with one last article. It comes from MSN. It's titled, Hope for Depositors Dwindles. Crypto lender Celsius files for bankruptcy. We talk about the importance of simplicity, being able to access your money, the importance of holding assets in your hand, being able to get to them, not keeping them in the bank, certainly not keeping them with a crypto lender. How many people now, most of these people are never going to see their money again, that kept their crypto in Celsius. Many of these hedge funds, some of these other crypto banks, just completely obliterated. And many of these people who were holding their money, their cryptos in these accounts have been wiped out. And this is why I don't trust anything on a screen. And this is why I don't trust banks, ladies and gentlemen. I don't trust physical banks, and I certainly don't trust digital banks. Digits on a screen can be erased with a click of a button. Physical banks, well, they can just shut down their ATMs. They can just lock their doors and close the buildings down, and it's over. So you have no chance of gaining access to your money, whether that's crypto, whether that's cash, whether that's the silver and gold in that safe deposit box. It is now the property of those banks. So as I leave you today, just a reminder, and I'm going to keep pounding this in everybody's head every day. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. Make sure now, I mean, with everything happening, the threat to grids, cyber attacks, everything happening to these banks are, in my opinion, not safe. These banks are not in good standing. They can tell you all about stress tests and all this nonsense. These banks are going to get themselves in very, very big trouble, and they're in trouble right now. Do you think it is wise to be keeping your assets or your cash in these banks? Don't ask me where I think you should put your money. That's something now that you need to be thinking about critically. If you believe that the institutions, the financial institutions are safe, if you have the utmost trust in your bank, by all means, keep all your money in that bank. I don't. I don't believe that the system is as strong, healthy as they're telling us. I believe the system is beginning to melt down, and that is why I have most of my money out of these banks, and why I think most of you should have most of this money, of your money, out of these banks. If the lights go down, the grid goes down, cyber attack, a bank run, bail in, bail out, whatever the case may be, you don't want your money sitting in these banks. It's done. Just like these people learned their lesson from Celsius. They're done. They're never going to see that money again. They're done. Could it happen to a Wells Fargo, a Bank of America, or JP Morgan? Yes, it could. Is it going to happen tomorrow? I hope not. But could it happen next month, next year, 6 months from now? Could they shut their doors for a period of time, leaving you stranded without any money? Yes, it could happen. It could happen. And remember, everybody says, oh, but my money's insured, FDIC insured. Remember, they insure pennies on the dollar. The federal government, the FDIC, only has pennies on the dollar. They only have a few $1 billion to cover over $20 trillion of depositor money. So if we saw something really big happen, there's no way you're going to see your money, because they just don't have enough. So I'm going to leave it there today. It's something to think about, ladies and gentlemen. Again, keep all your money in the bank if you want. I just keep enough to pay the bills. I don't trust the system. I don't trust the bank. I don't trust what I'm watching daily. When I see the stock market, when I see the markets completely bailed out right before my very eyes today. The Dow Jones was down over 600 points this morning. It closed down only 140. Tell me how that happened. Tell me how that is possibly, how that possibly could happen without the help of the Fed. Down over 600 on top of all this bad news. It should have been down well over 1,000 today, but no. They bailed it out today, 140 some odd points. That's it on all the news today. I'm going to leave it there. It's just unbelievable what we are taking place, and yet people believe everything is going to be okay. I know that most of you know and realize that we got a big problem, and this problem is going to get worse because all they're doing and all they're going to continue to do is throw money at it while they raise the rates, 75 basis points or 100 basis points, something they should have been doing nearly 10 years ago. We're in big trouble, and you need to take big action right now to prevent this from wiping out anything and everything you have. God bless. Stay safe. Talk to all of you very, very soon.